This is Chess Master All Rats. I'm here at chess.com. FIDE Master Nfork is giving a simultaneous against members of my video lessons group. If you're not a member, come on in. 10th largest group on chess.com. If you just search the groups, you can find us pretty easily. NM for National Master All Rats free video lessons. And he's got another one set up for August 2nd. Okay, he's supposed to play about 30 games. And doesn't quite have that many started yet. I am going through trying to find all the games and make sure that everybody that does get a game against him gets their video made. I mean, a commentary on their video. Now, here you can see one drawback. This game started. He's playing a time control of 45 minutes with a 30-second increment. What this translates is that essentially if he plays all 30 games, you just divide those time controls by 30. He's playing about a 2-1 bullet game, something along that line. And or I think 60-30 would be 2-1. So this is even less. It's like he has a minute and a half and a 1 second increment. Now, if he can get some games over rapidly, that will help him a little bit. But the biggest danger is getting into time trouble and losing games on time. The first time I tried a simul, I was trying to make a video commentary too, and I just got so behind in time I didn't realize how it was going. I lost about 17 on time. Okay, so let's just take a look at these and see what I have, and then try to add some more games. Okay, Caracan, 2 knights defense. Nfork is mixing things up. Okay, English C4, E5, D4, Queen takes. I took the white side of this once against a strong Mexican player in ICCF. Correspondence play, 1986, Bruno Schwabel or something like that. And Knight C6, Queen E3 check. And he played a good game, but I drew. He ended up winning that section. I think I came second. Anyway, Roy Lopez. Okay, here's clocks ticking. He's got to come back and find this game. Okay, we have the Panov-Botvinnik attack. And then here, King's Indian attack. He got a Canon Master snuck in to play him. Haha. He's played a few of these simuls. He likes to play the other title players. That's cool. Everybody's welcome. Sign up, sign up. First come, first serve. Yeah, look, the time's just going by. Hopefully, his biggest problem is he's trying to get everybody to play, get the challenges issued. And so this is an experiment, and he's having fun. Hopefully he doesn't lose these games on time. He can just sit here and play blitz chess. Okay, so we have a Sicilian type formation. English could transpose into a lot of openings. Very dead. We got the Owens defense. So he's mixing it up. He's playing a little bit of everything. Perk defense, yeah, as I said, he's playing a little bit of everything here. There's a modern type defense, and here double queen pawn opening. We don't know exactly where it's going to go. Sicilian closed, could end up a Grand Prix attack. Here we have possibly the old Indian defense. And here's a French offense. Oh, good. So he's trying all his openings out. Now, Nfork's a very strong player. I've known him on the internet for, 6 years or so. And we had a really interesting game way back then in standard time control. He won. It was close. I made a silly move, played too quickly, one move, missed a Zwischenzug. That would have given me the better position, but oh well. He ended up deserving. He won the tournament. It was the STC championship, and he went on to play the winners of the other servers in a playoff. I think he came second overall. But he's very active in Finland. He plays in a lot of league games. They travel a lot, and so they're active in FIDE over there. He's played quite a few number of title players, international masters and grandmasters, and he's beating them, and deservedly so. He's pushed his rating over 2300 and has the FIDE Master title. Now what I need to do is look at the list of games here and see if there's any one that didn't get added yet, didn't get a game started. Now they had to be out here on time, and it does take time to start these. It doesn't look like he has that many games going. He wanted to play 30, but this is a first try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 with very dead. 10, 11, 12. He's got 12 games going, so I don't know what happened to the other 18 people. It takes it's tough doing these simuls. I wish there was an automatic button to do it, but you got to issue simul, or somewhere you could challenge in advance and have them all issued at once. But maybe one day we'll get that here at chess.com. Okay, so hopefully more games still get added. I'm going to try to add them here as we go. But I hear more clicking now, so maybe he's now going to get himself out of time pressure. Maybe he's decided he can't find anybody, and I don't know whether they're here or not here, but we have a dozen games, so that should make it interesting again. Let's go back to the beginning and count them as we go. Let's take a look. Okay, so Caro-Kann 2 knights defense, or 2 knights variation, and then knight f6. A lot of times I think the main line is to take on e4, and then after knight, instead of knight f6, take on e4, and after knight takes here, you play bishop g5. And bishop f5 is a mistake. White saves the tempo and delays d4 and starts conducting kingside operations. I had a friend that forgot the lines and was trying to transpose them back into the main line, and the guy just delayed d4 and rolled him up. Another story on that one. Okay, Ronan returns. Okay, he did play queen back to d1. I think this might be a mistake. It's not bad. It's not going to cost white the game. But why put the queen all the way back, okay? Basically now black's got free development, and there we go. Okay, so now this one's moved along quickly. Mainline Ruy Lopez, so they both playing book. If you know anything about the Ruy Lopez, you've seen this position before. Black didn't go into any tricky martial lines. Okay, so Storm Stout, what's happening here? Okay, this is the Panov-Botvinnik attack, and okay, not live. Anyway, just trying to answer somebody's question here. Where's the live video? There is no live video. It's coming. I'm going to make it. Not that far. Okay. Looks okay for white here. White's got 3 pieces developed. Black has none. Black's got the strong point d5 as an outpost, and nothing developed. So if white can, maybe bishop d3 might have been a mistake. White, let's just back it up and take a quick look here. I don't know. Whoops. Okay, b5, bishop e2, bishop b3. See, one of the things about an isolated queen pawn, you want to get it advanced if you can, and this is the kind of position that white might want to try to open up the board, because his pieces would seize the open lines when the pieces come up, and when the position opens up. So this prevents white from pushing d5. Okay. If he brought the bishop back to b3, he might be getting ready to do that. Well, black's getting ready. Black's catching up on development. White can force that in. Now, this d4 pawn may become a long-term liability if white can't get it advanced. Okay, so what's happening here? We got a FIDE master playing him. No, Canon master. Okay. Pretty basic, straightforward King's Indian attack. This is the same system I've been teaching with white. Okay, so interesting to see how Enfort treats that. Okay. Stealthy Penguin. We've got a modern defense. Even let's see. This position could have risen from 1e4, so it's kind of like a modern. I don't know what you call it exactly. Doesn't really matter. It's an interesting position. Black striking with hyper-modern style, striking at the center from the wings. Okay, so let's see. That's Stealthy Penguin. Here we have Bananas Zagana. Okay, what's happening here? It's kind of like a double king pawn where white's playing passively. Now, sometimes white will play Fianchetto the king bishop in a Vienna game system, so we could kind of transpose into that. Does white have the center fork trick? Knight takes e4. He would have lost the tempo getting the d4 pawn in. I would say the best bet for white is just to develop, get castled. He can do it quickly. Okay, that's Bananas Zagana. Now we have William 3. This one's moving along, and could transpose into a lot of openings. It could become a closed Sicilian with e4. It could become a symmetrical English with c4. It become a Gruenfeld or Neo-Gruenfeld with d4, or King's Indian attack with castles. So there's still plenty of ways to play this. It's one nice thing about some of these ready type openings, hypermodern type openings. You can transpose into something else. Crush your opponent up. Okay. Very dead too. What's happening here? Black's got a very solid system again with the Owens defense. White's got a little more board room. That's about it. Okay, this bishop on c1. When's it going to get in the game? Okay, so this knight's blocking its path. He just castled. Okay, very even game. Okay, White's got basically the advantage of the first move, and that's about it. Okay, moving on to the next one. There we got Black employing. It looks kind of like the hand-ham variation of the Philidor defense, to tell you the truth. Let's see. Philidor defense is the double king pawn opening. Let's see. So there, Philidor defense, just like that, where White doesn't. Let's see. E4, E5, knight F3, D6, D4, knight F. Well, no, he's threatening to win a pawn here. Anyway, it's just a lot. I'm not going to try to figure out exactly where it is. It looks like the hand-ham variation of the Philidor defense. It should be equal for Black. Okay, good. Lots of clicking in the background. I don't think he's going to start any more games, but after I go through the rounds, I'm going to look again. Okay, so Matty F9. That was that game. Hand-ham. Okay, now here. This is interesting. Striking at the center kind of early. Takes advantage of the fact there's a pin here, but usually, you know, this is bold play on Enfork's part. Okay, wow. The point is, there's, you know, White can't take on e5 with his knight, and if he takes with the pawn, does Black want to, which he did, does Black want to take with the bishop? What's his intent? Let's sit here for a second. Or does he want to bring the knight into d7 and then try to capture it and rely on the pin? Black didn't need to play, let's look at it for a second. Black didn't need to play e5. He could play knight f6 here and just go about his business developing and get ready to castle. So it's kind of bold play here. That's against Udipto. Well, we'll come back and see what he played. Oh, here he did. Let's just back it up. Okay, Udipto, he did take with the bishop, like I mentioned, relying on the pin. Now, White's playing this in order to break the pin and secure the bishop pair. So that looks, for the moment, like a reasonable choice. If bishop takes, queen takes, and there's a little pressure, indirect pressure on f7. Yeah, let's take a look. Queen takes. What? If knight f6, you know, White can go for some trades. Knight takes, and if queen takes, just trade the queens and have the two bishops against the knight. So looks like White has equalized this. Can Black mix it up? Not really, because he doesn't have any development yet. You know, the bishops. It's rare that a bishop's developed on this square, so he knows what he's doing. We'll trust the master's judgment. Okay, so now here Black's picked up the bishop pair. There was an exchange on b8. How did this come about? Let's see. It's kind of a odd Queen's Gambit decline, reversed. Okay, I'm not going to begin to categorize this one. So let's see. Black could trade, and when the knight takes, you can play e4. There's this imposing pawn center, and if knight b5, you're not threatening a check. Then a6 and kick it back. Yeah, I would say just trade the queens and play e5. White can't play knight f5. Well, he does it that way. I was wondering about that, but I was saying, well, you know, he trades queens. He's taken his rook off the a file, but he can always go back there, I suppose. Okay, that was versus Larceny. What's happening with Math Bandit? This one's okay. Bishop g7. This is, like I said, it's become a closed Sicilian. I said it could come into a number of these things, and with e4. Well, actually, no. E4 was the first move. There's another game where White had an option to make it a closed Sicilian, as well as a number of other lines, symmetrical English, Gruenfeld, and so forth and so forth. Okay, that's Math Bandit. What's happening with Greeny? black... Let's see, what is... Has white captured a pawn there? Yeah, he has. Let's see, how did this come about? It's the old It's the old Indian defense. Okay, so... Now he plays e4, so he has something in mind. You know, I'm not seeing it. What am I missing? Bishop takes. Okay. Oh, okay. If knight takes, bishop takes, and knight takes. Is white just won a pawn here? What am I missing? I didn't quite understand e4. Is it? Maybe it's beyond me. Maybe this thing is beyond me. Anyway. What can I say? Let's see. I think white just won a pawn. Well, I've been wrong before. We'll come back. Okay. So here we have the position opening up, possibly. It's looked like it's similar in a lot of respects to a Caro-Kann, but this came out of a French. Let's see. How did we get into a French? From this into a French? Okay, oops, he played the exchange variation. This was the variation Jacques Mises liked to play. Was it Mises? I think it was Mises. M-I-E-S-I-S or E-S. And black thematically fianchettos his French bishop. They can't do it yet because white's got some pressure. Now here white can get the outside pawn majority. Meaning he has 3 and 2 on the queen side. This can be an advantage if the kings remain on the king side, because you can create a pass pawn which will ideally deflect the black king over to defend it, so that your own king can run in and eat up all the other enemy pawns. But 3 on 2 pawn majority is not all that easy to convert. It really takes a lot of practice. There's an excellent chapter on it in Sherezhevsky's Endgame Strategy book. It can tell you a lot more than I can in this short video, but it's if you're at least 1400 in strength and want to get better at the ending, that's your book. Okay, 16, 17 bucks, you can't beat it. Okay, it looks like I've gone through all the games, so let's back up and let's see if any new ones have added. I don't think so, just based on the number of clicks I'm hearing as the games are going. Okay, let's see. Stormstout, so I think I'm going to have him very dead. Larceny, Math Bandit, Maddie. Okay, here's one. Troa. No, I have one already. I don't have my glasses on, and I thought that was a T, but it's a UO. Looks like TIO. Okay, Greeny, we have Run and Returns, Edipto. M.A. Pearson, yeah, I have him. Okay, good. He did. I'm Babna. He was, I think, one of the standbys. Good, he got a game. So standbys do get games. Okay, so he's still adding games, which is good. We're going to have more games than we wanted to get 30. I think he's got 13 now. Let's see what's happening in this game. Let's do it this way. Make this 2 posts. I'm doing a little spamming. I mean advertising, I should say, not spamming. Telling people that are watching that you can play Mr. Nfork 2 at your leisure. So I got to stop and let me move this out of the screen's way. So this one just started against Imed Dabebna. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. I apologize. Okay. Oh, the Danish Gambit. How bold. Okay. And here he returns the pawn. The idea being that black doesn't want to accept 2 pawns and behind in development, but black should be okay if he takes on b2. With proper preparation, you're just going to win 2 pawns, suffer a little bit, and then consolidate and win. I have another FM master friend. He changed his last name to Lucky, because his name was the German version of it, Glicksman, David Glicksman. He's now David Lucky. He lives in Las Vegas now. He showed me some neat stuff with this line. Is white. When you run into the decline, no, it was a little different. It was out of the, let's see, it wasn't out of the Danish. It was out of the Goring where 2 knight f3 knight c6 d4 takes. No, I think it was out of this. But I guess maybe when the moment that was out of the Goring. Can't remember. E4, E5. Let me just back it up. Knight F3, Knight C6. Now D4 takes C3. Now black can decline with D5. That's the whole thing. But then takes Bishop C4. Don't remember the line. So let's see. Comes up in this one. D5. You take with. But he would only give up one pawn. He would give up one, but then when they wouldn't take the second one, he would take it back with the knight. I can't remember. I'll have to think about it. But basically, black should be okay against any line when white's playing something like the Danish or the Goring Gambit with due preparation. Okay, let me go back to the beginning and all the way to the beginning here and see. And I'll look at the list here too. Let's see, this is an empty chat. Let me close this window. Okay, let's see. Alerts. No, wait, games. Okay. UOA, Steinitz Attack, Stormstad, I got that. Stealthy Penguin, Williams, Very Dead, Larceny, Math Bandit, Medi, Greeny, Rana Returns, Dipto, M.A. Pearson, I have him. Leg Lemons, I think I have that one. I was on the list. Maybe I don't have him. Let's see. Well, pressed add. One. No, I did have that one on all along. Okay. Let me go to the beginning here and let's do an assessment of what kind of games we've got. Okay. UOA, let's look at the time. Okay. Good. UOA is taking his time. He's staying on pace with N-Fork. You need to take your time. You don't want to play blitz against the master in these things. The master's having to play blitz. You play blitz, you increase your chance for a mistake. I mean, heavens, we can make those enough on our own with all the time on the clock. Let's just not increase the chances. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Black's trying to win this pawn on E4. How did this come about? Out of Caro, out of the two knights. Okay, I was talking about this earlier. Normal is to take. I got a click there. What was that click? I wonder what that click was. I have no clue. Okay, 94. So I'm pretty sure this is good for black. See here. Okay, what can white do to deflect this bishop? Now this pawn here is under pressure, although black may not want it. White could, okay, but drawing arrows ahead of myself. It's white's move, but just imagine it's black's move. If black took this pawn, white could play D. Well, he can't really play D4 because white will just take it with the queen. But there might be some way to set some themes up like that, or you could put the knight there and attack the queen because on pawn takes, the queen hangs. But it's white's move, so sometimes you can you can ask yourself, what's my opponent threatening to do? Well, he's threatening to take this pawn on E5. Well, what can black do? Well, neither side's white's lost white hasn't lost a pawn. Okay, but you see the problem with Queen E2 is it's shutting this bishop in. White's going pawn hunting instead of going for development. Okay, how's this bishop going to get developed? Well, one way to try to do it is to play bishop to G2 by playing G3 first. Now, black should, but as I was saying, black's trying to take this pawn, so how does white hold on to it? Black's almost going to have to win this pawn back, otherwise he's going to lose a pawn. So he got aggressive in the opening with E5, and I'm sure theory probably frowns on that. This is not main line. I'm sure E5 is not main line. As I was saying, D takes was, I don't really know the knight F6 line, but now I'm learning a little bit about it. And I know N-Fork knows his openings very well, so we'll take his word for it. But here, maybe more to the point is to play D4. Black will say, well, okay, go ahead, double my pawns. I don't care. I'm opening up lines for my development. D4 would be a good move. Of course, that leaves the knight anchored on E4. Another move to play is D3. Now that shuts your bishop in, but hey, so what? Where's that bishop going anyways? See, these squares down here are covered. The bishop can't go there. So D3 kind of puts a commitment to that knight. That leaves E5 a little weaker, but yeah, and then on D4, Black's going to have some C5 breaks. But okay, so he played this move anyway. Now, this protects the pawn. So let's see, take, Simpasant. You can't take with the queen. You got to take back with the pawn. At least this pawn's guarded. But now White's got this ugly backward pawn on the open file, and Black's gotten rid of his problem. This pawn, the one that White was trying to win. So anyway, enough on that. Let's look at this one. Come back to them all later. Okay, how did this? Was this the queen D1 line where the White brought the queen back to D1? I think it is. That doesn't make sense. Okay. Black's getting his pieces out. White's getting his pieces out. And what's he doing? Okay, I guess he's got a pin. Okay, since White was ahead in development, he wants to open up the board. How much ahead in development was he? Well, he's got 3 minor pieces out and he's castled. And this bishop can't move. So, yeah, it's close enough. We can go ahead and do it. And now F5, pinning it. But this does allow White to start catching up in development. And he throws his wish and zug at Black. And Black needs to save the queen. You could do it with knight E7, which just looks yuck. Or bishop F6, which looks okay. And this is the position. Black's a pawn ahead. What does White have to show for it? Well, just a little bit in development now. But hey, he's got a couple guys for it, too. Doesn't have anything to show for it. Nope. Black's run out of gas, or White's blundered. If it weren't for the fork, White still didn't get enough of compensation for the pawn. You need 3 tempos to get compensation for a pawn sacrifice. Okay. So let's move on to the next game. Now this is out of Rory Lopez. White's got the knight anchored in on F5. That's such a great square for a knight. And looks pretty theoretical. White would like to try to attack on the king side at some point, and we'll see how this one turns out. We'll come back to that. Storm Stout. Okay, this is the one I said that White should have been playing for the D5 push. Now what's happened here? Well, the isolated pawn is still weak. Black is threatening to occupy the 7th rank. Okay, this is Storm Stout. Let's see. Let's see, bishop takes C4, east. Let's just see how it went. B5, he went back to D3. Now Black needs to develop, which he starts doing. Now White's make A3. What's the point of that? To stop B4? Well, so what? Let him get this bishop developed so this rook can get into play, so that the queen can move and the rooks are connected. Okay, just common themes. Okay, now Black's got the square blockaded, and he takes with the queen. There's rook C1. Now Black's knight takes C3. I wonder about that move. White. Oh, you want to isolate. If B takes, you're going to win the pawn on A3. Okay, that's fine. This is fine. There's a mate threat. He covers that. Okay. Now good time to part with the bishop because he's got pressure on D4. Now a rook D7 would have kept the rook out of the 7th. Here, White should probably penetrate with the rook. I don't know if it's enough. Where's the rook going? The answer is all it's doing is just being a pest. Black's got knight F4. He can get the knight to D5 if he wishes, and he has a path to start bringing the king over. King can get as far as E8, maybe to E7. Should be an interesting ending. Because White has this isolated pawn, it offshoots to the fact that White has the bishop pair. Okay, let's look at Steinitz attack. That was out of King's Indian. And I like knights on c7. They just cover these two squares so nicely. Looks about even. What is this thing still doing at home? Well, the way I play it, it often stays at home a while. I found one method is to play a early b3, bishop b2, swing the rook over, and then drop the bishop back and use it later. White doesn't do much with his bishops in the way I've been playing this King's Indian attack. Okay, Stealthy Penguin, what's happening? Okay, f3 could be a target, but it's hunkered down. It looks like a dragon. Dragon Sicilian, doesn't it? Did it transpose? You know, I'm seeing everything in everything dragonish about this thing, except it's out of a d4 opening. Let's look to see what happened. Okay, you could say it's a Sicilian defense. Yep, there, Sicilian Maroczy bind. You have it. So it turned into a king pawn opening after all. Now, how close is it to the mainline Sicilian dragons? Well, there's a big difference. This pawn on c4 is usually on c2 in the mainline dragons. Okay, and black is playing to occupy that square like he does against dragon. White has, now normally with this pawn on c2, white won't be playing b3 because to keep the knight out, simply because it weakens c3. b3 here would still weaken c3, but maybe it's not so much of a target, but it is opening up the white king a little bit. So white, I don't think white can afford to give up this pawn, which he's done for this attack, because black can, you see there goes the pawn. I think white needed to play b3 and make white prove he had something here, or make black prove he had something. b3. Now the question is, how does black proceed? c3 is a little weaker. You know, one of the ways to break the Maroczy bind is to play a6 and b5, and then opt to get d5 in. But this does, b3 does weaken the white king a little bit, and b3 was indicated and make black prove himself. Okay, so it's an interesting game. Okay, now, wow, look at all those pawns on black squares. This is what we call a good bishop, folks, okay? See how all these pawns are on dark squares? Well, one little exception, okay? This bishop has just freedom to move all around it, and these pawns here kind of crimpen this bishop, and black's a piece ahead. So, ooh, this one's, how did he drop a piece? Okay, let's find out. Okay, it was out of that old line. Yeah. So where's the piece go? How does it go? How does he lose a piece? Game looks about even. Whoops. That's what happens when they make moves on a game you're examining. It refreshes it. So where does white lose his piece? Does he take on f4 and forget that this knight's hanging? Or wait a minute. Nah, stop moving, guys. Let me catch up. Okay. Okay, like they can hear me. I'm just wondering how white lost a piece here. Okay, I guess white says if knight f4, I'm gonna bishop takes, pawn takes, my pawn's lost, and if knight f3, there's g4 followed by f3, yuck. So white went attacked a rook. But the drawback with this is the knight doesn't have an escape route. So he didn't quite calculate it out correctly. He guards it, but black just piles the pressure on, and black got a pawn, or white got a pawn for it. That's all he got. And then there's another pawn. You know, game over. This will be a win for black, barring a blunder. Okay, so this one looks pretty even. This was out of a. This is one I said could transpose into a lot of things. Yeah, could have gone into a Sicilian or whatever. Now it's in a King's Indian attack, and it just moved when I was on the board. So let's just. Both sides are getting developed. Look at that. The back ranks are getting cleaned off, so the rooks are connected on both sides now, and the game looks about even. Okay, very dead. What's happening with very dead? Okay, black's got some pressure on G2. That explains why this bishop came back to F2 or F1. G2 is the only protector of F3 as well. This knight on D2 is, but you can't leave this knight on D2. White's needs to play this knight into E4. Okay, the reason being that's a nice square. It points at a couple of squares. It helps seal off this diagonal, and it puts an attack on F4. So it's black to move. How does he stop that? This knight to E4. Well, I think F5 is a mistake. It just allows 9% capture, and you have a weak E6 pawn. You can stick something on D8, so if knight E4, you can drop this knight into D3. See, read my mind. Well, no, you can't put the knight on D3. This bishop's on D1. So knight E4 is a good move here. Well, we'll come back to it and see what he plays. That was against very dead. Okay, Matty F9. 5 pawns each. Black's a pawn up. Opposite colored bishops. That does not mean a draw. It's the last thing, very last thing about a draw. And what it means is the attacking side's a piece ahead. Now who's attacking? Looks like white is, but black's not far off either. Okay, white's got some pressure on F7. I mean, black would like to put this bishop on E5 and go for mate, but you know, F7 is going to fall. It's not a win for black, but I like black here simply because he's the pawn ahead, and we're going to go with that to start with. And black has to try to evaluate how can I get attacking chances here. I'm not sure if he can because right away, maybe not. Let's see. Maybe black has to try for a queen trade, but even then, you know, white's going to have some pressure on F7. So I'd say I'll reassess it and say that white has compensation for the pawn he's down. Okay, and that's owing to the fact that he's got a rook on the 7th and this bishop pointing at F7. Okay, so let's see. Udipto. What's going on here? This is the one that white got the 2 bishops out of it with that H3 move. Remember that? It's the bishop E5. It forces the bishops off, and you get the board opened up. So an n-fork develops. Watch F7. That was tricky. Okay, here he stops black from castling. Queenside, kingside. Does black want to castle queenside? Not necessarily. There's a little trick coming here. Bishop G7 followed by bishop takes F6. So that explains rook G8. I was wondering why he did that. Mysterious rook move. I said, why do that? Well, just stopping bishop G7. Okay, rook D1 stops castling from queenside, and now black can't castle because both of his rooks have moved. This is good. Get a little pin on the bishop. And I've got to like white here. F4 is the threat. Okay, F4 is the threat, or maybe bishop F4. And there's a pin here. Well, F4, the problem with F4 is maybe black can, I don't know, he gets a check, but there's a pin here. I like white here for a lot of reasons. Black can't move his king. Okay, black didn't get castled here. So king can't go to F8, king can't go either here, and this bishop's pinned. The king's in trouble. How does black wiggle out of this? Ooh. I don't know. I don't know how black wiggles out of this. Knight H5. Who's ticking me? Chat request. Okay, from one of the players. Okay, what does he want? Okay, I mean, don't mean disrespected. Hi, he says hello. I'm not disrespectful. I just, what do you want? Tell me. I want to know so I can report it. And if it's private, I won't report it. Now, what's private? I don't know. Okay, let's move on to another game. I think n-fork's in trouble in that one game. With I lost it. Udipto? Yeah, Udipto. n-fork's in trouble here. He's asking me if the reason some boards seem to be getting a lot more priority than others. It's all how he clicks. It's crazy giving these. Hard to keep track of. Okay. Alright, hopefully that satisfied him. Let's get back to the commentary. So Dipto's got a good game. Larceny. Larceny's up a pawn? Not good for him. Okay, let's see. How do we lose a pawn here? How did black lose a pawn? How did black lose a pawn? Okay, so I thought black was doing great here. E5. Oh, that's how. I didn't even see that earlier. I was suggesting queen takes, and what I was saying was, does white trade the queen on b6, and black's not on the file. I just completely overlooked it. So did n-fork. Okay, so that's how he lost a pawn, but black got a little bit of development for it. Black has the bishop pair. Not enough compensation, but anything can happen. Okay, so that's Larceny. Math Bandit. Now he's asked me about priority. Well, how many moves have you played? You've played 8 moves. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying, especially looking at his clock. He has 19 minutes left. Yeah, it's just a little weird seeing him play 30 moves in 11 minutes in one game, while another 25 minutes spent before his 8th move in mine. And no bother, I'll just tell him, no bother. Alright. I know first couple simuls, first time I gave it, I lost like 17 games on time, and then the next couple, I think I lost at least one on time. I just never relocated the game. It's just zaniness. Okay, so Math Bandit's even, but he can't be unhappy with that. Okay, so let's see. Now, that's an interesting place for a knight. In descriptive, we call those bishop 5 squares. That knight's on bishop 5 and impressing. But black's got to cover it. Okay, it's loose. How do we get to this? What was this opening? Bring this back. Okay, okay, the old Indian. All right. That's where you want a pawn. Yeah, white won a pawn, right? And black got it back. Wow. I heard a tick. Sounds like a game ended. Well, we'll find out here soon enough. Okay. So he got some play for the pawn. He got it back. He's threatening to double pawns up. So I was wondering what I was missing. He showed us. Is this prepared? I wouldn't put it past him. N-fork is very talented. Okay, so now black's got the bishop pair for what it's worth. So good job. Okay, that was against Greeny. Cat Mardu. What's happening here? Ooh, look at that pawn. Pass pawn on d3. Black's a pawn ahead and has the bishop pair. This one is looking gruesome. If knight d2, we can always chase it out with bishop b4, or bishop g5 rather. Of course, black's not threatening to push it any further at the moment, but the simple fact of the matter is white's down a pawn, and black has this monster pass pawn, and I don't see any way for white to get any immediate counterplay here, like bringing the queen down. Should be a grind out win with the ending. Okay, let's go now to the next game. This one just started still. N-fork is really down on time. Well, Math Bandit. This was one of the later games to start, and N-fork's really behind on time here. He's only on move, 7, so he's moved behind you. Okay, Legelmans. I guess that was a late start. I'm not sure if I covered this one. I was trying to add it. I'll go look at the list again and see if there are any more and get caught up. Okay, so Nimzo Indian. Yep, there's an Nimzo Indian. Now that's an interesting move. Bishop f4. It doesn't really do much. The Leningrad or Spassky variation is to play bishop g5. So bishop f4 is not a bad move, but I talk to some of my students. I give some examples. I say, if you're driving a car uphill or running uphill, it's a tough climb. But if you take your foot off the gas pedal, you slow down. Now, when you press the gas pedal, you have to press it even harder than you did before to get it back up to the speed you once were at. So it's not bad to take your foot off the gas pedal. You're still going to be going up a hill, and if you're running uphill, if you slow down for a second, you're still going to be running. You're just not going to be moving as quick as you once were. So chess is like that. You don't play the best move, but you play a move that's still okay. But it just makes your game a little difficult. You have to work harder to salvage something. All the possible chances that could have come about from the stronger moves are gone. This is why if you watch a grandmaster playing an amateur, why the grandmaster wins so quickly. The amateur makes a mistake, the grandmaster recognizes it and punishes it. Okay, so knight e4 seems logical, and here black is just going with normal moves. Again, white's not bad. White's not in trouble. Oh, what's he castling queenside for? Now, is that bad? Could be. It's just not normally seen. So let's talk about this a second. If black castles short, we could have one of those both sides go after each other's king type positions, right? Or black could almost even leave his king in the center and still go after the white king. Bust that center open. That's an interesting strategy. Sometimes people leave their king in the center. White's trying to set everything over to the king side, and black won't castle into the attack, but black's still doing his attack on the king side. So this could turn out to be interesting. That's versus Leglemans. Maybe I better look at the list again and see if there's any new games. Okay, I've heard another click like a game over. Okay, Math Bandit, Storm Stout, Science Attack. Okay, where else? Stealthy Penguin, got a him, Very Dead, Infork, Larceny, Greenie, Runner Returns, Adipto. Okay, that's what we had. I think we might have 2 games over. Let's go all the way back to the beginning and see. Okay, yeah, he did win against UOA 87. It's kind of a shame. This game ended quickly. Let's do a little advertising here if anybody's still in there. I don't know if they're still in here or not, but I'm going to advertise. Okay, now what did he take on F1? What's he threatening? I don't know. Maybe White had to leave. Well, don't know if White's losing this. Let's see. Maybe I'm just blind. Okay, Karakhan, 2 knights. Okay, let's see. D4. He took en passant. Now let's see. He could take with the queen too, I suppose, but he took en passant. I said White's got this bad pawn, backward pawn. He's piling up on it. And White chose to resign here. Now let's see what happens if somebody's trying to chat with me again. Rook takes. I guess we can give a check, and this pawn's going to go too. I guess that's it. Okay, who's chatting with me? Friend request. Oh, it's a friend request. I accept all friends requests. Okay, add me as a friend. I will accept. Okay, so that one, and we can close the books on this. You had a decent opening. Just if you're going to play the 2 knights against the Karakhan, you need low a little better. Okay, now go look it up. Okay, it's when you approve. You don't always have to know the book opening the first time you play it. Maybe it's the 10th time you played it. Maybe you've played this line before and he pulled something you'd never seen before. Doesn't matter. Now you have time to look up the opening and improve your play. Next time you'll get a better game. Okay, Rona returns. Okay, even on pawns, black has the bishop versus the knight. Couple 5 pawns on white squares, which is yummy for this. Now, is this the one where black? How did this one come around? See some? Oh yeah, queen went back to d1, and then black was winning a pawn. And did white win it back? Let's see. I thought he was just losing his pawn. Or no, he thought he was losing a piece. Oh, okay. This is what I missed. He pinned. I didn't see this the other time around. He pins. Okay, good job finding the pin. Now, black needs to develop. Okay, so I'm not sure about stopping to take that knight. You know, black's not really going anywhere with that knight. I really don't like to give up the bishop when you don't have to. It's one of those gas pedal type moves. You're taking your foot off the gas when you're going uphill. Now you're going to have to press it harder to keep going uphill. The move that b2 is loose, so the move that tells me that I want to play is queen d2. The point is first point is it connects the rooks. Okay, you got to complete your development. So queen d2, just play that before anything else. You could play it next move if he recaptures. You could play queen d2 now, but you've just given up the bishop, which you didn't need to. So apparently white's playing it this way. He's playing for an ending, but you see you're going into an inferior ending here. Okay, the bishop is better than the knight in an open board with pawns on both sides. Okay, that's the problem. And now this, you're putting a pawn on the color of the bishop. You're better to leave the pawn here on h2. Okay, don't have any weakness in the position. Just leave it. Okay, you're not going to get back rank mated. So h3 was just a waste of time. Now, here I would put the bishop on c6. That supports a possible a4 thrust. See, look at that. Theoretically, black is now winning this. Winning it's another issue. You've got to use proper technique, but in theory, this game wins. And the classic example is Stoltz versus Kazhdan, The Hague, 1928. It's in my library over at ICC. I think it's entry 158 or 160, where Kazhdan proved why the bishop beats the knight in the ending. And in that position, if Stoltz's pawn wasn't on h3, it might have been a draw. Later it went to h4. So it's one of the reasons you don't want that pawn up on h3. It just created weaknesses in the white position. But theoretically, black should be winning this. But black winning, it's another story. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, white's getting his kingside attack out of the Ruy Lopez. He's got that knight entrenched on king bishop 5. Was it Han Kamak called it what? The Benoni jump? You stick the knight in on f5 and sack it. Well, he's not having to sack it. It's just anchored there. But black is trying to get ready to play g6 here. He's covered h6, trying to drive that knight away. But it might be a knight that white could sacrifice. Like for instance, even though it's white's move here, if g6, let's go find a move. Bishop d2, for instance. Pawn takes, pawn takes. We've got some possible attacking chances, although anything black does could weaken him further at some point. F6 to shut the light squared bishop in weakens g6. It's a whole thing that you sit and you analyze. When you have an average of 3 minutes a move in a normal tournament game, see, this time control that they're playing here is not normal. It's even for the black player that has the full time. It basically gives an estimated, 45, 30, the full time plus the increment of 20 seconds, 65-minute game. That's what a normal game you get at least 2 hours per side. Okay, but still the odds are good for the amateur non-titled player here, simply because the master's playing so many boards. Okay, so this one's highly in doubt. Who knows what'll happen? Time. Look at White's time. I haven't been watching the white clock too much. He's using his time. That's good, but you've used a little bit too much. You're not going to be playing off the increment. Okay. Shortly. Okay. Storm stout. Oh wow. Okay. White shouldn't lose this. What went wrong for black? Black wasn't down a pawn earlier. Comment here, he seems white win here. King f1 looked good. Well, I don't know if white wins. A lot of rook and pawn endings are drawn pawn down. Let's see, how did Caro-Kann, Panov Botvinnik, and I was saying that white had this weak pawn, so something must have gone wrong for black. Yeah, the only thing that white had was he could stick a rook on c7, and he didn't do it. Okay, so what went wrong? Well, I guess he's going to get d5 in. Here, yeah, there, he finally got rid of the theming move. Now I was talking about white. Remember saying something about black wanting to get a knight into f4, and he gets this blockading square. I guess he just didn't have enough time. No, he just didn't have enough time. Okay, so how does this go sour for black? Okay, there's a tricky move. He pushes by. Now white's, well, it gives black the e5 square. It's not clear how the white bishop can attack the black pawns, but they are on his color. And it still looks fine for white, or for black. Get that pawn rolling. There it is. Counterplay. Did black need to put, whoop. It's one of the things when they move when you're here. Did black need, let's go for it. Did black need to play rook c8? Or I can't remember now. What about another game ended? Okay, what about rook b8? Okay, white can still get d5 in, but oh, now interesting. One of those theoretical king. Oh, that king g2 was. It's okay. You're moving too quick, white. Okay, king and pawn endings. You slow down and you take your time. Unless you have this precisely calculated out. Well, the white king's a little more active. Let's see. He's planning king h3, but you gotta be very careful. Black can do things here, like black can play h6 at some point, forcing you to take this. Now let's count. Here's the simple way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Black is 8 moves from a queen. Okay, h6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who queened first? Black did. And if white fails to win this game or draw in this game, it's the clock. Okay, we're not playing blitz chess. You know, if you think you're messing up the master by playing fast, you're not. Okay, they're familiar with, they know the rules. I just did the counting technique and solved this instantly. Okay, black's winning this now, unless white can somehow find a draw. But h6 is a key move. It keeps the black king out of. No, unless he can now he can't even come in and collect f5. See, h6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's white? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's black's move. He plays e3. Okay, so let's see. h6, we'll count it out here. Here, takes. Here, king here. King there. Oh, he does get back. I miscounted. Okay, so you're going to circumnavigate back and get to f5. Very good. So, you know, I could be right, I could be wrong, but but like I said, that you take your time and you figure this out. You don't just throw caution to the wind. Take your time. What if you miss something, and just because you played quick, and it happens. Why do you need to play quick? Because you got 28 minutes on the clock. Take 10 minutes. Take a break. Figure this out. Okay. There's no hurry. There's no hurry. Okay, a good game of chess lasts you a minimum of 3 hours, and even that's not a great game of chess. Okay, a great game of chess lasts 5 hours. Okay, that's a great game of chess. And anyway, you don't have time. Anyway, you don't have time for my group. Well, then fine. Okay, I heard another tick. Looks like a game ended. We'll come back to this. Staines attack. Okay, black has the 2 knights, white has the 2 bishops. Whoops. There is a threat on e4. Looks like game ended. How did this happen? Well, good job for the candidate master. Ooh, look at that attack. Okay, it came out of a King's Indian attack, and I was saying I like knights on c7. They do so much, I was saying. They cover those two squares, b5 and d5. Now, how did he botch this? Finally, white's getting his bishop into play. Hooray, there it is. Another tick, so another game over. We'll catch up there. Now, what's he doing? Oh, he's taking that. I thought he was taking a pawn. Okay. It takes a... Now, this looks okay for black. Black's got development. Heard another tick. Looks like a couple games are over. What went wrong here? Now there's the threat of knight takes g4 because there's a pin. So he breaks breaks one pin, steps into another, forgets that this is hanging. Oops. Okay, so takes. Now the threat is rook takes check. So he guards the queen. And black does it anyway. Or white does it anyway. Now on this, now black's up in exchange, but white sees a little deeper. Okay, he takes here. Now what has white got? It's got a couple pawns for it, but one's a double pawn. I don't know. It's easy to see how black could fall into this if there's a trap. What went wrong? Ah, the fork. Okay, now this allows immediate bishop e4, but I guess you have rook takes g3 check. Getting interesting. But he just found a nice precise way to do it. Just check black onto the diagonal, and that does it. Very precise. Okay, good job, Simultaneous attack. Very nice. Nice combination. It looked like black had some fine defenses there, but you had a better offense in the end, so congratulations. Okay, that one's over. Let's see what other games we have. Okay, we closed this one out. Let me just close the X so I don't come back to it. Let me look and see. I've heard more clicks than of game over clicks than I've noticed. Here's one. Greeny won. Okay. He lost on time. Okay, one of the problems that can happen, you have so many games going, it's hard to get back to the games. So right when N-Fork had shown that he could get away with that pawn sack, he ended up losing it on time. So black's a little better here, I think. Knight back to b6. c7 is not really a target because you can play c6, but anyway, good job. Now the guy that asked me about his game, I guess he ended up winning it on time. I'm sorry, unfortunately it happens. I've lost games on time too. I realize you didn't get a game. I know you wanted to get a game, but you asked me about it. Unfortunately, he didn't get back to your game. It's tough negotiating these things. Okay, I know it because I've given a lot of them. That's why I only play 3 or 4 at the most. Okay, so you have an even game. You've got an even game, and that's what you've got. I wish you could have had more, but you don't. Looks like somebody got some rating points out of this. These end up being rated. Because I remember him being, I think it was over 1800 when this started. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let's see, how many games are left? He still got quite a few. Here's another one that ended. Not that one. Okay, that one's still going. Let me come back to that. I want to look at the games that ended. Ooh, there's this ends up in a mate. Now, I was saying I liked white better here just a few moves ago, simply because he had that pressure. Now, this rook has come back to b3. It's off the 7th rank, and then black's managed to get the bishop to e5 where he wanted it. We couldn't get it there before, and he's got pressure on h2. So somehow white either white slipped up or the master found something that I missed. And either way, you can learn something. how can the master, if the master did something right that I didn't see, then he's going to show you how to do something when it looks like everything could be going against you. And if white lost this by his mistake, then we can see what white did wrong. Okay, because here white's down the 7th, and this is where I left off. Now, white doesn't need to play king h1. Okay, let's talk about this a second. He doesn't need to play king h1 unless he's planning to put the rook on the g file. Okay. Now, how does white improve his position? Well, everything's about where it needs to be. Okay, the rook's on the 7th. It's secured by the bishop on d7. And the only... Okay, a2 is not weak because white's not attacking it. The only weak squares white has is h2. And black's not poised to take advantage of it. So, okay, so we'll ride with king h1 if the idea is to activate this rook, because it's the only piece not activated. Now, what does black do? Okay. But here's an idea. No, not necessarily. Let's go on. See, black takes some pressure off the b file. Okay. Now, what if white just doubles his rooks, or does that lead to some problem? Does white trade rooks and black get this annoying check? I don't think so. But I think the idea of bringing, deserve further analysis. I think bringing this rook back is, you're giving up the 7th. You could have kept it there by doubling rooks. Now here, I was saying black might want a queen trade, or not want a queen trade actually, simply to keep the queens on. But I didn't mention if he does do the queen trade with this white rook still back on b7, white could trade queens, and white still has pressure on f7. So I think here trading queens is okay for white. White. At first I liked black, then I decided white was a little better. But trading queens was okay. But I can understand what he's doing. Okay, queen g5. He's another chance to trade queens, and now the bishop's gotten active. Okay, and now white's trying to still do his attack, and now here comes a mate threat. Now, how does a mate threat occur? I mean, what fell in the cards here? Well, white ignored a couple queen trades, and boom, there was a mate threat. And he covered one mate and walked into another one. Whoops. Cover one mate and walk into another one, because I think white gets mated here. I mean, forget the fact you throw the queen away. The moment you drop the rook back, queen takes h2 as mate. Now, here white had time on his clock, and he didn't use it. It would have been good time to have sat there for a few minutes. Okay, that game's over. Good job, N-Fork. Okay, now, how many games does he have left? Okay, now this is one I said was good for the bishop, and it appears so. Although, let's see. I want to see. White's done okay here, but he's still got those weak pawns. I was saying, technique will get the point here. It's theoretically one for black, but you got to do the work. Okay, you've got the bishop versus knight ending. This king can't be evicted from e3 unless black can get d4 in. So white's trying to blockade the position best he can. Let's see. So h5, knight f1. Black's just biding his time. He's getting ready to play d5, and he does play d5, and that's where we're at. Okay, so black's making some inroads. c5 is now a target that white may be able to counterattack with a knight a4, or maybe even a knight e4. Don't know. We'll come back. We'll come back to this one. It looks like we have a game result. Stormstout won. Well, I was wrong. N-Fork resigned from this position. So here I thought h6 was going to win, but it does if you count directly. If black goes for the pawn and the pawn advance. So somebody wants to chat with me. Well, thank you. I don't think I'm that popular, but I'm happy to chat with you. But I'm got to do my simul. video right now. So let's see what's happening here. White's up the exchange. Black has two connected passed pawns. White has a center passed pawn. Black's got some play, but White's looking good here. With proper technique, White wins. Try that one. 10th largest group on chess.com. Okay, my link wasn't working. Okay, so with proper technique, White wins this. Okay. Now did Storm Stout? Well, yeah, I'll just close it. So good job, Storm Stout. You played it too quick, nonetheless. But hey, fine. Good for you. Okay, what's happening in this game? Banana Zagana is still going. Oh, look at those white rook or black rooks. Oh man, they're black's a piece ahead. Black's been a piece ahead for some time. The white king's in trouble, and that knight's ready to help out, and the king's ready to help out. I don't think that white king is too long for this world. Okay, looks like there's another result unless I didn't close it. Rudolph. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. In fork 1, there's a check. The pawn on c2's passed. It's just a matter of time. How did white lose the piece here? I don't remember. I didn't remember the other time either. It's not down a piece here. There was one where the guy lost. No, that was the game where they lost the piece on g6. Oh, there. He just hung the knight. When the knight went to e5, it opened up the c file, attacking the knight on, or the bishop on d3, which is defending the knight on c2. Okay, so good job, N fork. He's got fewer games now than he did. Let's see. Ronan returns. This one's interesting. There he did play knight a5, like I say. Now white's getting some counterplay. He's trying to get an outside pass pawn. Those pawns were weak earlier, but black couldn't immobilize them and penetrate with his king into f4. But here black is saying, I'm gonna, you've got an outside pass pawn. I'm gonna be a pawn ahead, but it's a double pawn, and I may not beat you with a one pawn, but I'm gonna try beat with my double pawn. So my gut instinct says this is a draw, but you never know. What should happen here? Should white go for the outside pass pawn right now? That's an early indication. You say trade pawns, let's get the pawns off, and I draw. All that I'll have to do is stop the c pawns. Now bishop e6 to force the issue of white shoving in h4. And then does black take? Black may just not take and push by g4. Well, that gives the f4 square to the white king. Very interesting. As I said, this would be an interesting ending. We'll come back to run and returns. Now, something went wrong. White lost the trump of his position, the passed pawn on d5. Here I said white was a little better. How did this happen? Did I miss something, or did white just blunder? Okay. Yeah, here. Yeah. Well, not. Yeah. You see, it's a deflection idea. I didn't see it in the other position, but you're going to deflect the protector of d5 way. So on this check, white needs to punt and play king a1. Anyway, this should be a draw, but then again, not necessarily. Those pawns, they look impressive, but they're a long way from coronation. If you look at the 21st match game, Fischer-Spassky, 1972, Fischer had the rook against the bishop and two outside pawns, but they weren't far advanced, and Spassky resigned without resuming play. So the question is, how quick can white get a pass pawn here? That's the question, okay? But check out that game. Spassky had white. 21st match game Reykjavik, however you pronounce it, 1972. Game 21 for the World Championship. Okay, Banana Zagana was he's getting mated in one. Am I right? Isn't Rook from G5 to G3 mate? I heard a click. What's that click want? I don't know. Heard that earlier. I didn't understand it. Their game ended. Yeah, that ended. It did end in mate. Okay, well, you made it 44 moves against a FIDE master. That's good. Congratulations to both players for making it that far. Okay. So what are we down to? How many games? Still quite a few games going. Let's see. Oh, here's one I didn't count. It ended on a time forfeit early. This is out of the Danish Gambit. Okay. So unfortunately, that he was on standby too, and I guess it wouldn't have happened if the real guys had showed up. But let's see. Takes. He did accept the second pawn, which I think is wise. And now just a loss on time. Unfortunate, but these things are tough. Okay. It was his first. We got to give him credit. He's doing well. He's only lost a couple on time that he forgot about. Okay. There's Leg Le Mans ended in a that one. That was the one I was talking about. How you go uphill and slow down and have to pick it up again. So that one ended in a forfeit loss. I think he lost 4 on time. They just forgot about it. Couldn't get to him. Okay, so what else do we have left? Run and returns. Okay, now my guess is now it's petering out into a draw because White just okay. The H pawn doesn't matter. Black will win it, but Black can't keep both of his double pawns. So that game should end in a draw. Theoretically, White was winning earlier. And here, what's king? Okay, don't play King D2. Those pawns aren't going to bother you so much. Get your passed pawn. Okay, big secret. You need a passed pawn. Okay, get a passed pawn. You're going to cause Black all kinds of trouble. Okay, but it's still touch and go. Okay, so let's see. They're both using their time. Still pretty even. And we're only on move what? 24. Okay, he'll be down to playing just that one perhaps. Okay, Larceny ended in a I guess that ended in a time forfeit. Dang. That's like the 5th time forfeit. Well, Larceny had won a pawn. That he'd picked up the pawn on D5 and that Black just gave away. So good job, Larceny. You deserve that. Okay. Now, is this ending in a draw yet? Sure looks drawn to me. You got 1 minute and 51 seconds to find knight takes c4. Well, there's the draw. Game drawn by agreement. Okay. Good job, run and returns. You held the draw. I thought it was theoretically lost for you. Maybe it was, but it's good practice to find out why. And all I can say is look up the ending. You can start with the game I quoted. Stoltz cashed in The Hague, 1928. Okay, so much for that game. That's a draw. Okay, what else do we have? Oops, made this separate board. I don't know why it does that. This thing's goofy. Okay, Stealthy Penguin. Okay, Enforce getting those pawns running. Okay, watch those pawns, but you got to get a pawn going too. Okay, there's only so much Black can do with those pawns, but they're getting more dangerous. But that's why you need your time. Okay, no, you don't need that pawn. Okay, maybe you do. I don't know. But how much time do you have on the clock? 11:44. I can understand. Okay. Take a little more. Okay, they were threatening to fork some material. Okay, this game ended very dead. Oops, we've got a... What have we got here? White's down a rook. How did this happen? Okay, let's back this up. Okay, that's when we got the knight into e4. Here I was liking black so much, but yet here knight e4, it goes after this knight. But black's okay still. Let's see. Knight h5. Why not put it back on d5? It's centralized there. So maybe it was a mistake going to f4 in the first place. Where did it come from? Yeah, it came from d5. Okay, so knight h5 is on the rim. Attack the rook. Attack the knight. Now, you can't give up that knight. Okay, so takes. Now black's won a pawn. Now you get a... He gives up the piece. So white's up a piece, but black has some pressure here. The two bishops, this diagonal is open. What happens next? Okay, white's up a piece. White's winning this. And black ends up winning. Counterattack. Okay, chase the queen. This looks fine. Now look at that. Ooh. You got a... Well, you got the squares cover, but that queen's looking awful scary. You're on the bishop, on the knight. Oh, here I said white was winning this. No, suddenly he's not. What went wrong here? Okay, I can understand wanting to save the piece, but I guess maybe you can't. Maybe you just can't. You don't have time for queen e4. So you win this piece on h5, but it takes time and it weakens your position. So good job by N-Fork for showing how to sacrifice a piece and take advantage of an exposed white king. Okay, so that one's done. This one ended. He fell on time. But this one's turning out in favor of white. I seem to recall saying that earlier, that this one was turning in white's favor. Yeah, the king was caught in the center. Okay, let's see. Rook e1. He took here. Now, like I said, the king was caught in the center here. Where does the king go? It doesn't. And there's all these potential threats of bishop f4 and a pawn f4. What's he going to do? Well, he counterattack the bishop. Now, here, what if you just retreat the bishop and say, show me your next move? Here what white does is he goes after this guy right now. That's bold. And I don't think white has to do that. But anyway, what he sees, he is working. He's getting a nice game out of it. But did he? This is giving black a chance. White's barely got a plus here, but it worked because after rook, now if N-Fork's defending, you can just play rook a7 here. Now you're going to lose the pawn on c4 or rook a8. But the way to draw an ending a pawn down is to be in a rook ending. And let's just back this up. As I was saying in this position, when I say, what does black do here? Everything he wants to do, he can't do. And what black did was he played b5. And as I just said a moment ago, what if white just brings the bishop back and says, show me your next move, pal? See, moving the bishop back to f4, it unprotected f8. I mean, we're attacking that square, keeping the king shut out. What's white do on bishop b3? Or what's black do on bishop b3? Does he try his knight d7 move again? Well, he's still going to play. I don't know. It just seems to be more accurate. It's good for analysis. I'm not sure how to get an analysis board up on this. I guess I'm not going to try because it may not appear on my screen. But still, you had the better game when you did win. What you did was fine. I just think you have better. You want to look at this and try to find better because I think you had better. And when you're playing a stronger player, you got to keep playing finding those better moves, because when you settle for second best move time too many times, guess what? Your opponent starts coming back. Okay, he doesn't give up. he digs in and says, I can't lose to this guy. I'm not going to give up a draw to this guy. I know I'm playing horribly, but I'm going to dig down and he'll wait for your mistakes, and they will come, and he will beat you, or he will draw you. So I think you had some winning chances in here. It looks like we're almost out of games. I see some more results here, so good job there. Cat Mardu versus Enfork. Okay, what happened? Oh, those bishops just ate the board. Let's back this one up. Let's see, where did we leave this game off last? Oh, you had that pass pawn on d3. Oh, there goes the knight. Ouch, you pitched the knight. You pitched the pawn too. See, the pawn went to d3. Now, c4 weakened b2. It just gave that pawn away. Black has the better game. Black's probably winning, but White just got to play carefully here. It's, knight d2, I was talking about that move. Bishop g5 threatens it. Well, just go stick it back on f3. Just try to sit there. Don't weaken your pawns by moving any of them. But, now the pawn falls. One pawn falls, and now the piece is going to fall, and just game over. So, a valiant try. You had some chances in there. Okay, we got one more game here. Williams. Is that checkmate? Pretty checkmate. Let's see. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to look at the score. Yep, checkmate. Knight f3 checkmate. Very nice. Okay. How did this happen? What happened here? Let's see. This was looking even, I thought. Or black was no, black's, what's happening here? Black's up a pawn? Yeah, black's up a pawn. Was a safe pawn? Okay, I remember looking it through here. Okay, he gives up the pawn on f5. So black should be okay here. Something just went wrong. Black's kind of got a passive game here, but White's not demonstrating much. I mean, there's an f5 square. If you can get to it, get a knight there. How are you going to do that? By way of e3. How are you going to get there? Well, knight e1 to c2 to e3 to f5. That's how I find ways to move my knights. I just say, how can I get one there? And I look for a path. You can do it too. It's easy. Okay, you just have to know how a knight moves. But you want to be able to see, a square. What do I get there? I want a knight there. And then you just take it from there. Can the other knight get there quicker? Well, he's got to get to e3 too. Knight a1 to c2 to e3 to f5. So it's still several moves away. Of course, he doesn't go for my idea. He plays this. And chat request? I've got another chat request. Why does everyone want to talk to me? Okay, it's Enfork wanting to talk to me. Okay, so we'll see what he has to say. Okay, so c4 helps that knight get to f5. He says he made a mistake. Well, we all make mistakes. I'll just tell him it's for a first simul. I thought you set it up well. It's hard to keep track. Hard to keep track of all the games. See, I can start with a. He wants to start over with the opponents that he lost early on time to. Well, yeah, I'll tell him yes. I'll take care of it. He wants the ones he lost early on time. He wants to play again, which is nice. I want to play those guys that I lost to on time again if I can have time to give a simul. Yes, I'll take care of it. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, so this allows the knight to get to e3 a little quicker. Now he goes to d2, but he can still get to e3, but the rook's in the way. Okay, that's how I think. I want to get that knight to. Who wants to play knight a1? Well, someone like Petrosian does, because he knows that knight wants to go to f5. Now, of course, the further analysis is Black's got 4 moves of his own. Black can stop that knight from getting to f5 in all kinds of ways. That's what he's going to do. I mean, he can put a bishop on c8, keep an eye on that square. He can put a knight on e7. That'll keep an eye on that square. And who knows what else Black can come up with. This is how you analyze. You start asking yourself questions. I want to do this. What can he do? Okay? And, these piece maneuvers are so much fun. This is Master Chess, when you can move your pieces around. Mysterious moves. Okay, so I guess did the game end on time loss? Oops. Now, what? Okay, I'm just going a little too quick. C4, Queen D6. Now Bishop H3. Now that's eyeing F5. Now maybe black shouldn't weaken his king side here, because this allows a little tactic. Knight take. Whoops, hit the wrong button. Knight takes. If you take back, you have Queen F7 check, and you're going to collect this guy. Queen F7 and collect the bishop on B7. Okay, so White's won his pawn back, and another pawn, and went too far, and like I say, and another pawn, and now White's gone from a pawn down to pawn up, and he didn't even need to use F5. Well, there you have it. Okay, oops, that gives this, get on the 7th. Now a nice, clever piece sacrifice. Whoops. Yeah, one of those little composed problems. A nice, clever piece sacrifice. Bishop F5 check. Nice move. King takes, and whoops, there's mate. Very nice. Good job. Okay, that was William, right? Now that leaves one game. What's happening in this game? This one is still going. Okay. I think, okay. Rook versus minor piece endings by Averbach. It has this kind of position in it. Okay, if you throw the pawn on B2 out of the equation, the game's a draw. But with the pawn on B2, it's a pass pawn. It suddenly has some value to it. Oh, draw. Well, who offered it? I don't know, but it was offered. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap up this video. Hey, you'd have to look up theory. This is the time to go look at. I told you the book. You go look it up. If you don't have the book, you need to get the book, because it's a great book. The Averbach Ending Series. There's 8 volumes. He co-authored or wrote all but one of them. There's rook endings. There's knight endings. There's bishop endings. There's bishop versus knight endings. There's rook versus minor piece endings. There's queen versus rook or minor piece endings. There's queen endings, and what's left? Pawn endings. Cover all the simple positions. Okay. This position's in there. I guarantee it. It'll show you how to play it. And according to my study program, you look these up after you don't play them right the first time, whether right or wrong. You go look it up and you learn how to play it. That's the time to learn it, when it counts. I mean, well, not when it counts, when it's fresh in your mind. So the next time it comes up, you know. You could spend 5 years learning all these endings and not see one of them for another 10 years. You never know, depending on how often you play. If you're playing correspondence chess, or online chess as they call it, you go look it up during the game, because that's perfectly legal, right? Yes, of course. And then you find the right way to play it. So, good job by the players. Great sportsmanship by Infork. I really want to. We got to tip our hat to him. He played a lot of games. He played very well, and he's going to play more. We'll sort it all out. This video will last 1 hour and 33 minutes, and I hope that those that played him learn something from it. Those that didn't play him, come on in and play him. Get in my video lessons group. He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun to talk to. His English isn't perfect, but hey, his English is 100 times better than we can speak to him in his native Finnish, okay, or Suomi, or whatever they call their tongue. But anyway, terrific simul, terrific effort on everyone's part. Some of those games are touch and go. There's something to learn there. I hope my video helped you. Thanks so much. Take care.